Employment is down and retrenchments are up as the COVID-19 pandemic weighs on Singapore's economy. Preliminary data published today by the Manpower Ministry showed that the number of workers fell by 121,800 between April and June this year when the circuit breaker kicked in. It's the worst quarterly drop on record and more than 4 times the number in the first quarter when employment declined by 25,600.
Retrenchments in the last 3 months more than doubled to 6,700 from 3,220 in the previous quarter. Singapore's overall unemployment rate rose to 2.9% in June, while for Singaporeans it was 4%.
Let's discuss the numbers and the outlook for jobs with Joanna Seow, Manpower Correspondent at the Straits Times. Joanna, the main unemployment rate rose to 2.9% and went up to 4% for Singaporeans, while retrenchments have also shot up. Is this as bad as it's going to get, or is there worse to come?
Thanks, Olivia and Dylan. So it can be seen as a good or bad thing, but unemployment rates and the quarterly retrenchment numbers are actually still below the peak of the global financial crisis in 2009. And although economists are saying that the economic contraction has likely bottomed out in the second quarter, the labour market typically lags behind the economic growth cycle. So I think we haven't seen the worst of the job losses yet. And some economists are expecting the overall unemployment rate to climb higher to maybe 3% or more by the end of the year. And actually this morning, Manpower Minister Josephine Teo, she was at a press briefing, so she said that the job situation may not have hit rock bottom yet. Firstly, because global demand is still weak, so some companies here will be quite cautious when it comes to hiring. And secondly, while some companies are resuming operations, they may ask existing staff to do a bit more work rather than hire people since the outlook is still so uncertain. And for example, F&B outlets, they can see more customers, but business won't be at pre-COVID levels yet because of safe distancing rules.
Now, Joanna, the government is ramping up efforts to help people find work. What are some of the key initiatives, and will they help to create enough jobs?
Okay, so the latest initiative, which was announced today, is that 13,000 work attachments will be available for mid-career job seekers, and they can start applying from Saturday. So these aren't permanent jobs, but they're meant to provide real-world industry experience so that people can build up their resumes and they can get some income while they're waiting for opportunities to open up. And it's part of the big SG United Jobs and Skills package, which aims to create close to 100,000 opportunities for job seekers in the next year. And these aren't all jobs, so they include attachments or traineeships and training places. And the government is actually subsidizing the training allowances for people while they're on attachments and training courses so that it's easier to get companies on board to offer these positions. And depending on the scheme, the allowance can be from 1,100 to 3,000. So there has been some concern about whether all the opportunities being created are going to be good enough for job seekers. And I think the reality is that no, because there won't be enough permanent jobs for everybody who needs one. So there are probably going to be some people and some families who are going to suffer big drops in income. But I guess the bright side, is though that it's through the training places and work attachments, the government is trying to provide some basic income for job seekers, even if it's lower than what they were previously earning. And for people who are taking up career switches, so they could be moving into new growth industries, then there's the hope that prospects will improve in time to come.
Right. Well, with retrenchments on the rise, is it inevitable that there will be more layoffs like the one Resorts World Sentosa announced a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable that we'll see more retrenchments. For example, many hotels and tourist attractions aren't going to see visitors reach their pre-COVID levels for maybe a year or more. So it would be very difficult for them to keep workers employed over such a long period. But I mean, if there are retrenchments, the process has to be done properly and fairly. So there's actually a tripartite advisory that was formulated by the government, employers and unions that says things like older and pregnant employees should not be unfairly targeted. And employers should communicate with employees early and explain to them why a retrenchment exercise is needed, how it will be carried out, what factors will be considered in deciding who will be let go, and what assistance they'll be given to find another job. And there have actually been media reports recently about this aircraft maintenance firm called Eagle Services Asia. So it was actually still in negotiations with the unions about like who's going to be retrenched. They were finalizing the name list, but they already told some workers that they may be laid off. So NTUC came out and said that that's unacceptable. And I guess to end off, I think conducting a retrenchment fairly and with compassion is just the right thing to do. And beyond that, it also makes business sense for a company that's going to need workers again in the future when things improve, because you don't want to jeopardize your company's reputation because of how you treated workers when things were bad.